Get on my lawn tonight. Seahawks bringing back their old look again. The 49ers with their awesome white-on-white throwbacks. Great game, aesthetically pleasing game tonight between the 49ers and the Seahawks on Amazon Prime as Week 6 gets started. And, Charean, this really is a critical game. I think it was Nick Bosa, the 49ers pass rusher, who said this is must-win. And it always sounds a little trite and premature because you still got a lot of games to play. But when you consider that the 49ers are 0-2 in the division, 0-3 in the conference, yeah, they need to win this one. And they need to, what they need to do, build the lead, hold the lead. Because in their two divisional games, they've blown it against the Rams and the Cardinals. They need to finish it out tonight so they can at least convince themselves they're capable.
Mike, you know you can't win a championship in first 6 weeks of the season, but I think you can lose a championship in the first 6 weeks of the season. And it is a must-win because of the reasons that you said, 0-2 in the division, 0-3 in the conference. And guess what? Look at that schedule. Chiefs, Cowboys are next. So if you lose this one, you're potentially could lose the next two as well before your bye week. And I think they're going to be really good when they get Christian McCaffrey back and get a little healthier. But are they going to be out of it by beyond the bye? And if they lose the next three, it's going to be tough, Mike. Tough sledding to be sitting there at 2-6. I don't know. I wouldn't like their chances at 2-6.
Can't imagine they lose tonight. If they do, though, yes, going into the bye, Chiefs and Cowboys, could they actually be 2-6? And at some point, you have to ask yourself, do they say, we're not bringing Christian McCaffrey back until we feel like we are in contention? There's no point risking him at all this year if we feel like this is just like 2020. The year after the last time they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs, it was lost season due to injuries that happened early on. Similar vibes this year. It's just not working. They have a lot of issues they need to address. And I think it creates more frustration for the fan base because there was just an expectation that you plug it back in and you just keep going and everything's going to be fine. And let's fast forward to the postseason and let's see if we can finish the job. To have the season get derailed the way it has and to have these losses, you can hear the voices. You can see the people who cover the team, how they're up in arms about this because this wasn't expected. And it just feels like they can't get out of this churn that they're caught in. And tonight's their opportunity to do it. It really is. It really is. As must-win as a Week 6 game can be, this is it. Short of being 0-5, this is it for the 49ers because they shouldn't be 2-3 and they feel worse than 2-3.
They had last year, they started off with the 5-game winning streak. Then they had that streak there where they lost 3 in a row. And the Vikings, by the way, was one of those losses as it is this year. They had the 3 losses and we were saying some of the same things about the 49ers. What's wrong with the 49ers? They're sitting there at 5-3. This feels far worse than that. And I know this is a team that can turn it around and could still get it done and could still win the NFC. I understand all that, but you've got to do it at some point. It can't just be, this is a really good team on paper and look what they did last year and we expect the same thing this year. At some point you have to do it. And this just feels like the game that they have to do it to start to turn around and be the team that everyone expected them to be.
And Brock Purdy coming into the season, he told Mike Silver, the San Francisco Chronicle, that the goal this year is to dominate, to not have close games, to be like Tom Brady, to put teams away early in the third quarter. And I remember in the preseason, it's kind of like this guy's trying to do more than he can. And there's been flashes of that so far in the regular season. He can play well if he stays within the confines of the offense. I don't think he's equipped to become a Tom Brady or a Patrick Mahomes. He can be a very good Brock Purdy, but that's part of this too. As you have injuries, as you have challenges, does your supposed franchise quarterback help you rise above them? Or is he still just a piece of a machine and this year the machine isn't working the way that it needs to work? And it's an important matchup tonight because Mike Macdonald now coaching the Seahawks. The last time Brock Purdy saw a Mike Macdonald defense, that was Christmas night of 2023. It did not go well for the 49ers and Brock Purdy that night. Now, you've got different players, you've got different team, you've got different everything, but the common thread is Mike Macdonald came up with a game plan that stymied the 49ers that night, and they got some They got some fortunate bounces and they made the most out of them, but still, it was an ugly showing. That same brain is coming up with the game plan tonight to try to keep Brock Purdy from beating the Seahawks.
Well, and Jordan Mason has been really good, Mike. I mean, he's averaged 107 yards per game. He's like, oh, they don't miss Christian McCaffrey. But then you look at the red zone and how bad they've been at the red zone. Last year, they led the league. 67.2% of the time they got in the red zone were touchdowns. A lot of that is Christian McCaffrey. This year, they're sitting there at 29th. They have a 40.9% touchdown rate. Last week, they were 1-6, 1 touchdown on 6 red zone opportunities. That's been the difference this year, and that is Christian McCaffrey. That's nothing else on this team. It's Christian McCaffrey not being out there. That's been the difference in the red zone. To me, that's been the difference with this team this year. They're still really good on offense, but they're really good until they get inside the 20, and then they're struggling. They're struggling to put it in the end zone and put teams away.
You know, our assessment of quarterback play relative to other quarterbacks has changed in recent years because so many quarterbacks play well. 90 used to be an impressive passer rating. Now, if you're not in triple digits, you're not even in the conversation. But when you look at Brock Purdy's performance so far, and you look at completion percentage, lowest of his career so far. Touchdown percentage, lowest of his career so far. Interception percentage, tied with highest of his career so far. He's got 6 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions in 5 games. Yards per attempt, 8.8. That's impressive. Lowest of his career so far. Passer rating, 95.3. Lowest of his career so far. So it's a reflection of the struggles that the 49ers are facing, but at the same time, if you have a true franchise quarterback, he can lift you above those struggles. And I know what you're thinking. Patrick Mahomes' numbers are bad too, but they're 5-0. That's the difference. The Chiefs haven't lost a game. The 49ers have lost 3 out of 5. Now, Purdy has never lost to the Seahawks, and Geno Smith has never beaten the Seahawks. Maybe this is a night that trends change. I don't know. It's Geno Smith's 34th birthday. It would be a great birthday present for him, from himself, if he could go out there and deliver the win. But, the 49ers still feel like the better team, but there definitely is reason to be concerned based upon what's happened. And this is a microscope game for the 49ers. The last time we saw them in a standalone spot, they were steamrolling the Jets. Since then, they're 1-3. And they've benefited from the anonymity of the cluster of afternoon games on a Sunday. Now, prime time, everybody's paying attention. We're going to find out what this 49ers team is really made of for 2024 tonight.
We are, Mike. And I also think we find out a lot about the Seahawks. I'm one of those. I think Geno Smith, I've underrated him and underappreciated really what he's done since he's been the Seahawks starting quarterback. And he's leading the league. And I didn't even realize, I started just looking at stats yesterday. I'm like, dang, he leads the league in passing yards. Almost 1,500 passing yards that he's had. Now, that part of that's they can't run the ball, and they better be able to run the ball better tonight to have a chance to beat the 49ers. But this guy's been good. Almost 300 passing yards a game, Mike. He's everything you want in a quarterback, I think. He wanted the contract extension. The Seahawks didn't do that. But I think he's proved that he can be a legitimate starting quarterback in this league and get you to the playoffs and possibly win a playoff game. So, I will say it. I haven't appreciated Geno Smith quite as much probably as I should.
He's the charter member of this new club of quarterbacks who busted with their first teams. Finally got another chance. For him, it was 8 years, and look at what he's done with it. And I think one of the reasons why he's been collectively underrated, you attach that stigma, that scarlet letter, the football version of the big A, to Geno Smith, to Sam Darnold, to others who have been like that. And, it's a fluke. It's a fluke. It's a fluke. At a certain point, it's not a fluke anymore. With Geno Smith, it's not a fluke. Now, relative to his past performances against the 49ers, it would be a fluke if he wins tonight, but maybe it's the start of a new trend. This game really does have, because you look at it on paper and say, but it really does have a lot of storylines, a lot of drama, and a lot of significance, especially if the Seahawks could win. And I know through their first 3 games, I wasn't all that impressed with the Seahawks wins because I didn't think much of the opponents. They've fallen off. They've lost 2 in a row, lost to the Giants at home. You have a different vibe about the Seahawks. You're right. We'll feel differently about them if they can pull this off. We'll definitely feel differently about the 49ers if they can't.
No question about it, Maya. As Pete said, it's that scarlet letter, the NYJ scarlet letter. Gino's one of those guys who wears that scarlet letter, along with Zach Wilson, along with Sam Darnold. Keep going down the list of all those guys who flamed out with the Jets and came on and did what, or have a chance to do well elsewhere. Sam Darnold obviously is with the Vikings. So yeah, it's a big game for both teams. I'm excited about this one. And you're right, I wasn't initially, and then you start digging into it about the consequences of this game and what happens in the division. It's a big game for both teams.
It's not even an NBC game and we're hyping it up. You're welcome, Bezos. We're hyping up your game tonight because, yeah, some people may look at it and say, I'll watch something else tonight. Don't watch it. First of all, it's football. It's on TV. It's NFL football on TV, so it's always compelling, even if it's Bengals-Giants, which is a compelling game on Sunday night. See, now NBC will be happy and I'll get my check for this week. I won't get a Bezos check, but we're doing our Bezos heavy lifting here. Tonight's game is worth your time. And by the way, on the Jets, is Christian Hackenberg going to get a phone call at some point? I mean, we're looking at this chain of Jets quarterbacks that washed out. Gino, Darnold, maybe Zach Wilson has a future. Bring back Hackenberg.
I like it. I
have a feeling he'd be the exception. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe the UFL will come calling for Christian Hackenberg. He played in one of those lesser leagues too, and it didn't go well. Maybe he's just the guy that they got wrong and everybody would have gotten wrong. But for the other guys, if they would have gone elsewhere to start their careers, Charean, maybe it would have worked. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.